within GBM, we really take care of the employee well-being, not only by just giving them medical insurance and letting them deal with it, but actually trying to get the employee to be aware of the signs as he develops them. So for example, we bring medical practitioners to explain to them, not HR, because HR will always be seen, oh, we're trying to do something for the organization, but we bring real practitioners who are going to tell people what are the warning signs, what should you do to switch off. And also with us, from an organizational standpoint, we don't encourage people to be on call 24/7. We don't want emails to be sent after a certain time unless it's a real emergency. So today you send me an email, which is not urgent, it will be attended at the beginning of the week, because today is a weekend. If a customer has something very important, we will switch employees who are going to be on 24/7 calls. So you will have, so because we are 24/7, but we don't keep everyone on that. So there are employees who are going to have rest days. There are employees who are going to be working. So you bite-size or try to manage the workload amongst the whole group rather than a specific individual having to carry a big workload. And that's where agility comes into play, and that's why organizations are now building benches, like what they call is you have more than one person to do a certain task, so someone doesn't feel overwhelmed. So that's a way we're trying to tackle it, because it is a big thing, and if left unattended, you will get attrition. Like you said, you'll get illness, which will cost the company much more than if we trained people, if we hired an extra resource, if we split the work more effectively. Obviously, with us in our organization, because in technology we tend to have a younger workforce, so our average age is between 35 to 38, but we still have also expert practitioners who are still needed. And yet you're totally right, they're not going to be probably receiving messages on the Instagram like we're now on Twitter, on LinkedIn all the time. They're probably not as active as the younger generation to keep up with the news. But what we try to do with them is we still try to use the traditional forms of communication to at least give them some sense of normality. And on the training side, we're providing them ample opportunity to enable themselves to learn new skills so they feel part of the group. And on the social side, we try to create activities, whether it's remotely or on the track, so people who are of the older generation don't feel the disconnect. Because the disconnect is in the mind. It's not the body or the age. People don't walk around saying, I'm 55 years old. People walk around if their mindset is old. You can be old even if you're 22, if you're just stuck on old ways. And when you're 55 or 60, if you keep up with the latest trends, you keep fit, you keep healthy, you can still be very, very productive. And if like they say, as modern technology, hopefully, with the vaccine coming, people are living longer lives because there's better health. People will be working longer. So that older generation, you need to redefine that. The new old will become 80, not 60, So with us as an organization, we're very wary of that. And we like to treat everyone as equal as possible, but with some personalization. However, we've got to meet the older generation, like you said, halfway. Not leave them on their own and think, oh, they're in one section on their own. We need to bring them in and create an inclusive culture within the organization. And that's something that probably we've dedicated much more time than anything else, because we believe that if employees are not engaged and not motivated, they can't be productive. So you can give them the technology, but if somebody doesn't want to give you that discretionary effort or go the extra mile, so what we've done is we invested in a lot of social activity, even remotely. We've created, for example, an Instagram page, and we started bringing, like, we do monthly happy birthday videos for the people who are born, for example, in the month of January, where they share photos of them and their family celebrating. We did like a diversity inclusion. We have 50 nationalities. So people from India would wear saris. The people from the Middle East would wear like the traditional dress. People from Europe would wear what represents their culture. So we brought together people so they don't feel apart from each other. And believe it or not, when we did a pulse survey, so how do you test if our initiatives are working? We did a pulse survey, so we see the engagement. People appreciate these things because every day now they're keeping in touch with GBM, even if they're sitting at home and thinking, what's happening with my colleague in this location? Oh, somebody's birthday is here. Oh, somebody's child got graduated. Somebody got a new baby. So you're creating an ecosystem so people don't feel that I'm only working to a laptop. They feel part of the bigger community, and constant messages and webinars that we hold together, where we have virtual meetings and kickoffs, and we send people gifts and giveaways. They feel connected to us. So even if they're small gestures, they feel that even if we're working remotely, we're still part of the bigger system. And as we hopefully emerge from this pandemic, we will continue building on these initiatives as well. For example, like I told you before in the question earlier about pulse survey. So we're able to do engagement surveys where people can anonymously give us feedback, whether it's on the management or in the HR. And then we have working groups take these ideas and try to then implement them and then communicate back to the people. So now you give them feedback. You're like, unless you get a communication saying, guys, we noted the following things. We're able to do these things this year. The other 4 or 5 things, subject to us emerging from the pandemic, we will do. So people feel that they're being listened to and there is action to be taken. And now we're in the process, funnily enough, to be doing an internal hackathon. What that will do is people can work in groups, not the management team. So the management team will take a step back, like people like myself, the different managers, and people would come with ideas to solve our business issues, whether it is how do we be more productive in HR? How do we make more profitability from certain product lines? How do we influence the culture? So whatever our main big topics are, we get people to work on them. And irrespective of your title or your grade or your department, you're able to work and then present the idea to us. And we're then being able to implement, and then we give a financial reward to people, but we allow them to feel part of the solution rather than just top down telling them, oh, we're going to do this, because we think at the top level. So inclusive, like we said, creating an inclusive environment is a key pillar to us. And the pandemic has made it even more important, because if a CEO or a GM or a VP of HR can't be walking around the office and doing presentations, the only way we're able to influence is trying to create an environment where everyone has a word to say. It doesn't mean that we're over democratic, because that means that lots of opinions and nothing happens, but it means we give people the chance that if they provide a solid business case, not just give an idea out, but give proper workable business outcomes for us then to take on board. So it's also like a catch-22. Giving people opinions is important, but like giving them opinions without having a proper regulation means it's setting too much high expectations when we can't accommodate every single idea. From an HR perspective, obviously ideas can come through meetings. Ideas can come through people learning from other organizations. Ideas can come from just normal discussions that happen day to day. But an idea, for it in a business context to have relevance, there needs to be applicability. There needs to be a business case that's built upon that, so that idea then has lasting impact. Because ideas, you and I can come sit here today and say, let us create a group and we will do X, Y, and Z. But then I'll tell you, what about affordability? What about time? So an idea is only useful if it has some thought process behind it, rather than just brainstorming. So there's a difference between just brainstorming and an idea, so that the business can take it forward and make that idea into reality.